We are doing things a little bit differently today. So I'm going to bring you along to get ready with me. And while I do, I'm going to chat through the how and why we moved from Louisiana to Colorado. And I'm not going to talk about the makeup that I use as I use it, because that would take me forever. But I will link it all down below so you can check it out there. And if you have any questions about anything at all, the moving, the makeup, the hair, anything, please feel free to ask. All right, let's go get ready together. Okay, let's start with the why. Why did we move from Louisiana to Colorado? Well, Paul and I had been in Louisiana for about 30 years, and we didn't necessarily love it. It was just where he had a really good job with the Corps of Engineers. And at one point we even tried to move to Arkansas to transfer him, but that just didn't work out. So it's not that we were like loving and, oh, we want to stay here forever. The kids were, born and raised there. And when one of them had one semester left of school, of college, we were like, we should move. We should just all move. We would all get together on Sunday and have family lunch. And so we would discuss these things on Sundays. And we're like, let's move. And the kids wanted to move. And, they wanted us to come with them, which to me was a blessing. Like, I love that my kids wanted us near them. I wasn't going to leave my parents. So my parents said, well, we'll come too. We're like, okay. So we kind of just decided collectively as a family that we were going to move. So then the question was where? And so we all put on, we each had three. So my parents had three choices they wrote down. Paul and I had three choices. Ryan and Ashlyn, they're getting married in June. They had three choices, and Eric had three choices. And so just the top three places that we would want to live. And so then Ryan's like my spreadsheet guy. So then Ryan, he lists them all out and he gives us all a copy. And so we all have the top three places that each person would want to live. And now we started out with everybody got a hard no. Like, I cannot live there. I will not live there. It needs to be taken off the table. So that knocked out quite a few. And then Ryan took the list and he saw where there might be crossovers, and maybe it wasn't your first choice, but you would live there and that type of thing. So we narrowed it down, and then we just started discussing different ways or different places that we would live. And we all agreed on Colorado. And so then we started investigating different areas of Colorado, Denver, Colorado Springs, just, all the places. And so we kind of thought, well, Colorado Springs looks like a really good area. So then a year before we moved, Paul and I and the kids all flew out to Colorado. Well, we flew into Denver, but we were going to investigate Colorado Springs. And I had a realtor, and I'll tell you about how I found her in a minute. But I had a realtor, and I told her our plan that, it would be not just one house that we were looking for, but different situations, because this child would be, working in, this, and this child would be working in this. We all wanted to be in the Colorado Springs area. So we looked at a lot of different areas and a lot of different types of homes to fit each person's needs. Before we flew out here, when we kind of had all collectively decided that Colorado and maybe Colorado Springs would be our choice, I began watching a ton of YouTube videos, and my kids were too, about what it's like to live in Colorado, and just what is the housing market like? What is the, cost of living? What are the schools like? Just different we were, investigating. And so, I mean, I was just consuming as much information as possible on that subject, so that when we did fly out to look, I felt like I had a clue, of the area. So anyway, and the consensus when we flew out and like looked at everything was that we loved it. Yes, we were so excited. And so that was fun. So we told the realtor that we were going to go home and discuss it and kind of see what the plan was going to be. And initially the plan was going to be to move in about a year, and that way all kids would be done with school. It'd be a good time for us. And so I began looking at homes all the time. Like I would on Zillow and all the other sites, and I would keep a running list of about 10, maybe 10 to 12 of homes that were for sale that I liked. And I knew they weren't going to be for sale like a year later when we moved. But the reason I did that is because I wanted to keep my thumb on the pulse of how quickly homes sell, different areas to live in, what you could get for this budget and that budget. And so, and then at the time this was consistent for a year. And then when the time for us to put our house on the market, I didn't know how fast our homes would sell, but I felt like I had a clue of what the housing market was like in Colorado Springs, which made me feel a lot more comfortable. So one of the things that we noticed when we were looking at homes out here, and then again, this is, a year before we came, is that we noticed that there were a lot of homes that had basements and had almost like a separate living quarters downstairs. And we hadn't even thought of anything like that. And so then we began really having some discussions, and hard discussions with my parents, and saying, okay, if we're all doing this and you're, 86 and you're 81 and you're going to be downsizing anyway, and in your latter years, we want to be able to care for you adequately, and on and on. So the four of us, my parents and Paul and I, decided that the wisest thing and the best thing would be for us to all live together. And so then our priority for our home began to be to find a home that had pretty much a house on a house. So, and that's what we found. So our top level has the master bedroom, an office, a dining room, a living room, basically 2,200 square feet. And then the basement where they are has a master suite with a sitting room, with a walk-in closet, with actually a shower that was already put in for handicap. Now, neither one of my parents are handicapped, but they are aging. And so that was wonderful. Plus they have a living room, an office, a bedroom, an extra bathroom. I mean, it's literally about 2,200 square feet on the bottom. So it's like a house on a house. And so we felt like that would be good. They would be able to have their privacy, and we would too, but yet we could be right there if needed. And anyway, and that's exactly what we did. That's what the house that we found. And so that's how we got here. Now, let me see. Okay, how did I find my realtor? When I was watching YouTube videos on different areas to live, most of them were videos created by realtors. And so I felt like I had, I'd been watching these, I feel like I knew these people, like this realtor, that realtor, and I was looking at, men realtors, women realtors, older, younger, all the things. And it's funny, you can really gauge a personality by watching a YouTube video. And so there were these two women that had this real estate agency here in Colorado Springs, and I just felt like I knew them. I felt like they would get me. They would get it. they would be easy to communicate with. And I don't know, I just felt all that from watching so many other videos, and I was 100% right. 100%. And so I felt like I knew them before we even started the whole process. Okay, so then we put our homes up for sale. So Paul and I put ours up for sale, and my parents put theirs up for sale 3 days apart. And our home and their home sold within the first like 3 days. We put ours up on a Wednesday. I think it sold on Saturday, and they put theirs up on a Friday. And I think everybody was signing paperwork on Monday. It was nuts how fast our home sold. So then we had to kick it into high gear, which then we'll go into the second part of this how and why, is how did we actually physically move from Louisiana to Colorado? Hey, so if you're new, I just want to tell you this isn't the normal content. Usually we're talking about fashion, sometimes beauty, but we did recently make a big move from Louisiana to Colorado, and I've had a lot of questions on why and how did you do it, and who did you use? Did you use movers and pods, and like all of the questions? So that's what we're talking about today. So stay tuned if you like fashion stuff too. So let me tell you how we did it. Well, first of all, we had a home that was at 2,000 square feet, and my parents had a home that was, I think, about 2,500 square feet. And we did look into moving, just hiring movers, and just being very honest, that was not in the budget at the time. So that wasn't an option. And so then we began looking at pods, P-O-D-S. They, if you're not familiar, pods is it's like a big pod they bring, and they set it basically wherever you want, like in your driveway, by the front door, by the back door, wherever. And then they leave it. And then like 3 days later, or you determine how long, they could leave it there for a month. But anyway, you pack it, they come pick it up, they move it for you, they drop it off, you unload it, and then they come back and get it. And you orchestrate all of this time with them. You know, you schedule how long you need it here and how long you need it there and all the things. So we went the route of pods. And this is what I would say about pods. If you are extremely organized and you have people to help you pack and load and unload, it's a great thing to do. And if you don't, it's not. So we have 2 young adult boys, and my husband had some friends that helped, but honestly, it was a lot of really, really hard work. Yeah. And then we ended up, when we moved, when we got here to Colorado, we ended up hiring just some people that kind of help you unload the heavy stuff and move in here. It was a hard move. I mean, I'll be very honest. It was a very hard move. It was difficult physically, emotionally. There were so many variables. If I had to do it over again, and this is just for our family in particular, if I had to do it over again, I would wait and save up for a moving company to do the whole thing, because that would have been so worth it, in my opinion. The moving supplies that you need, you can purchase them from pods, but we found that was going to be we could do it for less expensive. So we would start collecting boxes, and we would we bought quite a few from Walmart and the dollar store and that kind of thing. So, the big rolls of saran wrap, if you don't know, that they make them and they're for moving, that that saved us a time. Like, we wrapped everything. We wrapped our couch. We wrapped all of our like framed art, framed photos, like big ones. I mean, everything was wrapped. We wrapped our printer in saran wrap, like literally almost everything. Of course, dishes and all that, we wrapped with paper and then the saran wrap, but that saran wrap was like such a win. Like, we used it for everything. Now, you're going to hear all the things about, get stickers that, this color means master bedroom and this color means this, and that's fine. And I tried that at first, and then after a while I was like, just write the room, so I would just literally write what room it was to go in, so that when we unloaded it, we could just bring it to the master bedroom if it said master, and be done with it. So yeah, you can do the colorful stickers, but I kind of got over that after a while. And let's see, what else? Oh, this is a big deal thing. Whenever you had make the decision that you're going, no matter how far in advance it was a year for us, start getting rid of things that you do not want to move. Because we were doing that, and we thought that we had gotten rid of so much stuff. And we did, but in reality, when it was time to move, yeah, not so much. We still had so much that we needed to get rid of. So even when it feels like that you have gotten rid of a lot, get rid of more. Unless you have the space for it. But we didn't want to move unnecessary things. So, and I'm talking like we got rid of 4-wheelers, boat, lawnmower, generator. I mean, like chunky things, big things. And I'm glad we did, but I wish we had done more of that. So let me think, what else about moving can I tell you? Okay, so this might seem like, oh, hello, Captain Obvious, but pack the last part of the pod with what you want to have first. So in other words, a mattress. So don't pack the mattress in the front of the pod, because then you have to go through all this stuff, and sometimes it takes days to go through all of this. So yeah, pack what you want, and whatever is like super important that you want to have when you first get there, back in your car if you can. And let me tell you why. I had one, it's sort of like a footstool thing, ottoman or whatever, in the car, in the Yukon. And everything else, like dining room tables, living, everything was in the pods. And we were here before the pods were. So in other words, we were here for about 3 days before we had pods. And we had nothing to sit on except the little tiny footstool ottoman. So we always let my mom sit on that. And then we would sit on either the windowsill or the hardwood floors. And so, yeah, just you don't think about those things until you're in this situation, and then you're like, whoa, I should have rethought that. So anyway, so we were here several days without furniture, but we did have, this is another thing, we did go buy air mattresses, and we kept sheets out and put those in the car. And so when we got here, we had the air mattresses to sleep on and the sheets and such. So yeah, that was good. And also, so if you, if there is this gap in time before your furniture gets there and you're there, you can paint, I mean, there are more areas of the home that I want to paint. But one area that was a priority to me was my office, because it was painted like a goldish yellow, I don't really like gold yellow. And I wanted it to be alabaster. Sherwin-Williams alabaster, because I work in there and I show a lot of fabrics and colors, and I wanted like you to be able to see textures and all the things. So anyway, before the furniture got here, we painted my office alabaster. So that was another thing. Okay, update on when the kiddos are moving out here. So we moved out first. So Ryan and Ashlyn are getting married in the summer this year, and then they'll move out after that. She's finishing up her last semester of her master's degree. And then Eric, he just finished in December. So he has been sending resumes out to this area, Colorado Springs, a few to the Denver area, which I want him to be closer here, but I'll be glad if he's in Colorado. So yeah, he's sending, so I'm thinking it won't be long before Eric is out here. So that will be good to have them close. And, you know, we're really close with our kids. Like, we talk just about every day. It's kind of like a routine that we have. They will call us on their way home from work, you know, and it's just like a little 5 to 10 minute chat. But Paul and I will stop everything that we're doing and just take a break and sit down, put him on speaker, catch up, find out what's going on, and not to be like over the top dramatic, but like that's sacred to me. Like that time that they want to call and invest in keeping, you know, the line of communication open and all the things, that I just cherish that. So I say all that to say we're really close as a family. So it'll be nice when they're all out here. Okay, how do I like Colorado? And it's a huge adjustment. Can you see? I don't know if you can see the wind that's been blowing the trees. It's snowing like crazy outside. So we love it. Like I said, we weren't necessarily in love with Louisiana. It was very humid, very hot. There were hurricanes, and I know that's just like the bad stuff, but just, yeah, we were ready. We were ready to leave. So not a hard choice. And the weather in Colorado, yes, it is cold. And days like today, it is really, really cold. The wind's blowing and the sun is not out and it is snowing. However, most days in Colorado have wonderful amount of sunshine. And even when it's like, I'll just say 41 degrees, if you're standing out in the sun, it's not like crazy freezing cold. It actually feels good. So we, you know, Paul doesn't mind like being outside and working, tinkering around and that kind of thing when the sun is shining, because it actually feels really good. So, but there are days like this. And you know, the good thing is that I work from home, Paul's retired, my parents of course don't work. So we don't have to get out of the house on days like this. We prepare ahead of time and, you know, get the groceries we need. See, we're so used to that with hurricanes. When hurricanes were coming, you know, we're used to going to the store, get everything we need, be prepared. It's the same concept here with like a snowstorm. Okay, so what I'm doing with my hair, the bottom layer, I use a straightening iron. I just pull it straight. And then from about the right below that bone right there, I will start curling it, and it looks like this. And I just curl it all back this way in sections. And so now I'm going to take another section and pull it down and curl it everywhere, all back. And I'm using a curling iron that is 1.5 inches. So it really doesn't curl as much as it does like put a bend in your hair, you know what I mean? I don't know, I've tried using smaller barrels for my curling iron and then it just looks too, I don't like the way it looks. So I like the way it looks with this one. So as far as like, we've been here 4 months. So a follower friend of mine, she followed me before I moved here, and then she's like, I live in Colorado Springs. And we have turned out to be buddies. We have lunch. It's so fun. I love that. And then the ladies in the neighborhood, they play bunco once a month, and they put me on their sub list. And so last night I played bunco for the first time. And it was so fun. It wasn't like a bunch of gossip, you know what I mean? It was just women catching up on, hey, what's going on? Did your child go back to college? And so-and-so's, this son's getting married. And it was just like I don't know, it was fun. I liked it. And I was so happy to be invited. So I feel like I'm slowly making friends here, and that's cool. So, okay, so here's another row that I curled. And yeah, I do kind of spray each row after I've curled it. If you have any questions at all about, moving or, anything, please feel free to ask, because yeah, I would just want to be of help if I can be. I don't know everything, but I can share our experience. I'm thrilled with our move. And, every family has their own stuff, their own baggage, their own stuff. And our family in particular had some junk in Louisiana. And I don't want to get into it because I don't want to bash anybody or place, but we had a lot of church hurt in Louisiana. Myself and my son Eric, and then of course, because it hurt so bad, the rest of our family, they were affected too. It hurt them. The reason I even bring that up is because it feels like a fresh start here. It feels good. It feels just fresh. Like, you're not going to run into those that really hurt you at the grocery store, at the mall, at a restaurant. I like that. To me, it just feels like, okay, that's not why we moved, but I can say that that is certainly an added benefit that I've noticed that I enjoy about being here. Another thing, I'm from California, okay? And when I first married Paul, he lived way out in the country, like way. Like I'm talking 45 minutes to get to a Winn-Dixie grocery store and an hour and a half to get to Baton Rouge, which had any kind of mall or normalcy. So I couldn't handle it. I just couldn't. And so we moved 45 minutes closer to the schools and the Winn-Dixie and all of that. Anyway, what I'm getting at is where we lived for so long in Louisiana, it was still everything was far. It would take 8 to 10 minutes to get to the grocery store. And there was no mall. There was nothing like that. And here, oh my gosh, everything is practically at my fingertips. There are grocery stores, good grocery stores, 1 mile away. There's an incredible outdoor mall less than 4 miles away. I have a doctor's appointment next week, less than 1 mile away. I mean, it is, I don't know, for a lot of people that's normal, but for me, and it was normal for me when I lived in California, but I haven't lived there in a really long time. And so we kind of giggle and we say, oh, it's so far, it's 7 miles. So that's another added benefit that I love about living here. So anyway, spraying the whole thing. Let that dry and let that cool for just a bit. And I'm not a hair expert at all. But I'll just take my fingers and just kind of pull it through to kind of loosen the curls a bit. Just like this. Like that. And I really don't brush it or comb it. And then I'll make sure that the back is, let's see, I have a mirror. I'm gonna look. I don't know if yeah, you can see that. Okay, so I just take a pick, comb, or brush, and I'll just pull it through like that to blend the pieces together. I have a weirdo cowlick right there. Lovely. I always try to camouflage that. Yeah. I like pulling the hair back and forth. And so the curls kind of stay in place a little bit. And then I'll just kind of do the front like this. Actually, I feel silly even showing y'all this because I am not an expert. I'm not good at this, but it's what I do. All right, so that's kind of it. And then I'll just spray it. And that is it. Can you see the wind blowing? It's really strong. Okay, so that is it for the hair. Thank you for getting ready with me today. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm gonna leave everything linked down in the description box that I used as far as makeup, hair stuff, and yeah, feel free to ask questions. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you in a few days here on YouTube.